That box was that really like a home.
Okay, who here is not on one of the departments? Is everybody here in a department? Okay, everybody, welcome to day number, what is today, Wednesday? Exactly, right, the 22nd. January 22nd, 2015, we're here in Las Vegas. Welcome, world, and everybody, to our Google Apps class. Today we continue the project of creating a newsletter using Google Apps to create a newsletter. Because one of the biggest advantages of the cloud is being able to communicate better with customers and prospective customers and former customers, etc. So what we're going to do is create a newsletter here that we'll distribute. And in the last 3 days, we've done what? What did we do starting last week? What have we done so far on the project? Okay, so we got into groups based upon these different departments. And so what is another department other than admin?
Marketing and sales.
Okay, marketing and sales.
Operations.
Hello, Mr. President.
You know him?
You know, you never know. I've got to be ready in case the president calls. Okay, so what else? Operations.
Of course, finance.
And
we're not
finance.
concerned about.
Right.
I'm worried about finance right now.
Okay. Now, here is everybody in one of these groups. Okay. So Mike is not in a group. Okay. Why don't you pick one that Algernon should be in? And Mike, we should do the same thing, even though I know that you're not going to be here often. At least you can follow along with what it is and apply it. Maybe use this for that company. Okay, so you should probably be in marketing and sales. What is Algernon going to be in? Okay. Okay, now Dennis, you have your sheet of who's where, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so please send that to me or post it to on this Google. See, as create a document, share it. Just make sure that we know, because we've got to make sure everybody, we're not duplicating efforts. And so one of the great things about Google Apps is they are collaborative. You don't have to be in the same room. You don't have to be in the same building. You don't have to be in the same state to be able to be effective doing this. In fact, the further away you are, the more valuable it becomes. So that's part of our exercises to do this between California and Nevada. Now, what are we going to do today? What is the assignment for today? That does what?
Everyone in our department is working collaboratively.
Okay. Okay, so I now have on my screen the document. Okay, and I'm not going to focus on the 4 paragraphs above the sheet, but it's the one that we've had for the last couple days. So the people in administration just fill out all of the administration stuff. People that are in operations just fill out what's on the operations on your own document. So you're going to be collaborative within your group, but not with everybody in the school right now. Okay, that really didn't work too well yesterday when 200 people are trying to type at the same time. Okay, now for people in admin, what we're looking for here is, like, if you say MindMup, who's doing it, when's it going to be done? Or when will it be shared? It's never going to be done. It's like Disneyland. Who's doing the mind map? When will it be shared? Calendar. Who's doing it? When will it be shared? The map, same thing. Who's doing it? When will it be shared? Because admin is responsible for creating these things. Once it's set up, what does admin do? What do you do, admin, once you have these things set up? Okay. But then what do you do? Like, let's say once the calendar's set up, what is your role with the calendar? What events do you think that you would be adding in admin?
I did one on there yesterday, but just so you see if everybody got it on their calendar, and I just put
Okay. So calendars, what are the two primary purposes of calendars?
Everyone's on the same page throughout the company.
Well, you know, that's why we collaborate, but what is the primary purpose of a calendar?
You know what you're doing in that.
What, Kevin?
Scheduling meetings.
Okay, so that's one of the two things. So it has to do with the future, right? Scheduling them, and history, the past. So recording what we accomplished, anything that's significant. I have a calendar that's just called Res Geste, that I write my own calendar called Res Geste, that I just put all important things that have happened, any milestones for the school, any other things like that, I put them on a calendar called Res Geste. That way, if I ever want to find something, what do? I go to that calendar, I do search. Okay, so got to think out of the box when it comes to calendars, but the primary purpose of a calendar is to plan for the future and record the past, create a history of the past. And that should be for your whole life. Because we all come up with events and say, when did that happen, right? When did I do that? Or when do I need to do that? So now for the admin group regarding the calendar, the first thing you do is you set it up. The next thing you do is you enforce that people use it. Because if we don't collaborate, what happens? People die. Not really. Not Navy SEALs here. We're not Navy. Yeah, things go to hell because somebody says, "Well, it wasn't on the calendar, so what? It wasn't on the calendar, so
I didn't know.
I didn't know." Okay, or I forgot to what? I forgot to look. I forgot to what? Put something on the calendar. And so if people don't have confidence in the calendar, what's going to happen? They're going to stop looking. And then when you stop looking, you're not collaborating. When you're not collaborating, you're not going to be successful doing it. The thing is going to break down. There's going to be a lot of problems. So the two primary purposes of admin for these apps is to build them and then to make sure that everybody else is doing their part in collaborating. Okay? It's kind of, you know, that's the essential thing. And if you're a Navy SEAL and you have a plan, it's okay to change the plan once everybody else on the team knows the plan has changed. Because what happens if you change the plan and you don't tell people? People die. Right. Die. And that's truly what happens. Okay? If you're a Navy SEAL, the plan changes and you don't know, everybody else is safe on the boat and you're still standing on the beach. So it's okay to change your plan, but you need to know, and that's where it comes from admin. That's where the admin people come in on this equation. They're the ones who make sure that people, everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do on these different apps. So Facebook, we do have a Facebook page. Jonathan might have the log-on information. Well, you do. I mean, everybody should have it because we use it, right, on our projects. What you should be doing for that is if the marketing people are supposed to be posting to Facebook, admin needs to make sure they are. And you could break it down in the group and say, okay, Veronica, are you an admin? Marketing, sales? Okay. Well, you could say to somebody on your team, okay, you need to handle social media and make sure the guys that are in marketing are doing their postings. And make sure that the postings are in the correct What? Format, right, the correct format. So that includes we need to always make sure we have what? Hashtag,
Hashtag.
the website, especially the school website and the hashtag. So same thing for Twitter. What we really want to do is, well, let me ask the question. Okay, for La Voce, we're trying to push people. We're using Facebook and Twitter to push people to Google+. Because Google+ is going to be like up to date, where people post stories and things like that. We want it to be a repository. We don't want it to be on our Facebook page. You've got to scroll down and look, and it's not, you know, Facebook isn't really designed for that. So with La Voce, we're trying to use Facebook and Twitter to push people to La Voce. So how do we do that? Let's say this is Facebook here. How do we push people to Google+? So we have a headline that's compelling. Animal found in Santa Fe Springs. Okay? Not really. Okay? And then we have a link to the Google Plus page. So they click on the link, and where do they go? They go to the Google Plus community. Right? And that's the repository, and then they can see other stuff. That's how we're doing it in La Voce, and it's the same thing with Twitter. We post something there, we have a link, but the link is to here. The link isn't to the story, the link is to here, the story's here. For our projects right now, how do we do it in our, what project are you on, Dawn? No, not the projects. People of the Abyss, SPQR, Obligation. Okay, and Vino Veritas. Okay, I don't want to talk about that one. Okay, on the Obligation, what are we posting every day? A story, right? Where does the link go on the posting we do in Facebook? No, not that link. It takes you to the story. Right, we get a story and we republish that, right? Like that's what I usually do in Huffington Post. I see something on Huffington Post and I post it on our circle here. If you click on that, you see the story, but we have a little thing in front of it, right? An introduction. And we have hashtag Larson Training Center, whatever. So with the projects we're doing now, we're reposting, republishing somebody else's story, right? You do this too, Eric, right? You find a story, you write a few words at the top, and you want them to click on that story. Or they can click on the hashtag, or they can click on the website, or whatever. We don't want to do that here. Here we want to drive everybody to our Google Plus community. Okay, or do we? Or do we want to do what we do with the projects? That we find a compelling story, like let's say why it's important to educate adults. We have our hashtag and our website in that at the top, but we have the story. If people want to see the story, they click on that and they can go see the story. So how do we want to do it? When you're publishing something on Facebook, this is how we do it in La Voce right now. Okay. How do we do it? We don't do it that way with the Obligation. With the Obligation, it takes you to someone else's story. Right? You post on Facebook right now for the Obligation, for people of the events, or SPQR. The main, this topic here, the heading, is somebody else's story, right? We're republishing it, but we put a little sentence or 2 sentences or 3 sentences before they read the story, right? That's what we do now for our projects. So the question is, do we want to do that for our newsletter? We have somebody else's story, but we let them opt to go to our page. Well, so here's what we do in the projects right now. Here's what we're doing in La Voce Publishing right now.
It should be.
Well, I don't know, because the people that we're going after for La Voce are a really specific demographic. If we go to the Seth Godin thing, we're trying to get people to the tribe. Who's the tribe for La Voce? Italian Americans, right? That's who we're trying to get in that tribe.
You've got a target audience.
This one for Larson Training Centers, for this newsletter, who are we sending it to? Everybody who could have meaning. So the La Voce model probably isn't the right one because it's not a specific tribe. In the La Voce one, people have to join this community. And it isn't easy, right, John? Okay. Not easy getting people to join the community because most people don't use Google+. We can get them to Facebook, right, John? We can get them to Twitter, but we're having a really hard time getting people to join this community.
You'd be better off using the other model that they have the option of.
Use them. Okay, so it looks like what we should do is this newsletter, we do the same thing that we do for the projects. Okay, which is what, William? Regarding Facebook and Twitter.
We invite them into.
No. We just republish somebody else's story. And then we have our hashtag. If they want to know about Larson, they have the hashtag, and we have the website. Okay, so now back to our administration group. What are you going to enforce for the marketing people? That when they're doing their postings, that every posting has hashtag and website. So who's in marketing? In marketing, the big thing you're looking for is what? What's the objective? What are those people called? Subscribers. Okay, so marketing and sales for the Larson newsletter is just trying to get subscribers. Meaning people who are going to read it. Okay? So whenever you publish a story, you should be out there looking for compelling stories about why that shows why Larson is a great school, why we're the Stanford of career training school. Okay? Here's what this school does where Larson does something better. Or here's what this school does great. Larson does that too. We have an incredible statistic in here. Is William gone? William Hendricks completed a course at Columbia University through Coursera. How many people started Coursera? Okay. William finished that course called Sustainable Development that was taught by Jeffrey Sachs, who's a world-famous guy. So they haven't finished grading the papers, but he completed a 16-week course at Columbia University taught by a top world-known professor, Jeffrey Sachs. So that's a big thing about demonstrating why this school is good. So marketing and sales people, your job is to get subscribers. We get subscribers because it's compelling content, right? What do people want when they go to read something? What causes somebody to read a story? They want to or they have to, right? When you're a kid and you're in school, you're in high school, you get an assignment. Do you read it because you want to or because you have to? You have to, but you might end up wanting to. Okay? This is completely voluntary. And what we always have to keep in mind, if somebody doesn't want to read our stuff, in their brain, they're going to position it as it's crap, right? Oh, I got this email from Larson about this newsletter. I don't even want to read it because it's crap. So we have to take the position. If somebody doesn't read it, they're electing it's not worth my time to read that. So for the marketing people, make sure you write down that that headline has to be very compelling. It has to be rooted in truth. Because if you put cannibals at Santa Fe Springs and the story has nothing to do with cannibals, what's that little children's story? It had to do with saying, exactly, that's the little boy who cried wolf. Pretty soon you're going to have a compelling story and nobody's going to read it because they think what, Manuel? Because you made it up. Okay? Because every time I looked at a story, you didn't have anything in there about the headline. So the headline has to be rooted in truth. And this is a very good, important exercise. You can go to an employer in your interview and demonstrate that you can get people, you can get him customers because you can write, because you can communicate. That is huge. You can't get a customer if they don't know you exist. You can't get a customer if they know you exist, but they say, not interested. They say not interested because you don't have it well. So now, segue, go off on another subject. When you write your stories, guys, you have to have somebody check for grammar. Because if your content is good, like Eric has some compelling things. But if you spell this word like this, if you do that, what do people think? Moron, right. I can't trust him. If you can't spell a word right, I can't trust you. Okay? And if you're a school, you're the Stanford of vocational schools.
Oops.
Okay? But we always do this. This is back to our TED Talk this morning. Somebody else has to proofread your stuff. They do that everywhere, right, Manuel? You could work for the Washington Post. Somebody's going to proofread it. Don't get your ego involved of, I don't need somebody to read my stuff. Just leave that at Catholic Industries. I didn't even say Catholic Charities. Catholic Industries. Okay? Leave it back there. Okay. So, admin people in California and in Nevada, are you guys clear of what the assignment is? Okay, so you need to do your form. You need to do that. Now, for everyone else, look at that document, get with your team. This is kind of a white paper type assignment of what are all the things that you're going to do. Then we're going to share this and we're going to get back and collaborate. And so the marketing people are going to say, well, we think we can do that better. Or what about this? Or who's going to do that? And then once we get that, then we can go forward. We can start firing because we know what the target is. We know what kind of weapons we have. We know what kind of tools we have. We know what the skill sets are of the people doing it. So are there any questions right now? Yes. Okay, so the procedure, okay, so that's a good question. What does the document say for today of what happens with these? Because we should end up with 3 or 6 separate papers. So what's going to happen?
We're all going to want one.
Yeah, we need,
right?
each group needs to be able to share with everybody that said it.
Yeah, so admin is going to consolidate these. Then we share it. Then we're going to go back and look and make sure everybody knows what the plan is. Okay, if we just post everybody's ideas, why doesn't that work? You have an idea, Algernon? Want to jump in your first day? Okay. Okay. So,
what happens?
okay, so we can't have when we yell forward, we can't have people doing this. Not really effective, right?
So like for the marketing department, we all get together and we put together one white paper, and that'll be going over to admin.
You don't even need to get together because it's what? Collaborative.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, now if the guy's sitting next to you, for me, it's easier to say to the person, hey, what do you think of this idea? Instead of saying, watch this.
Jesse.
Okay?
Watch.
But I wouldn't do that from here back to Dawn. And that's just if the person's sitting next to you. Yes, Dawn? That's the admin group. So in fact, there's a couple of communities, right? There's an internal community and an external. The internal community should be thought of as like our library. That's where we have stuff. That's beyond the drive. The drive is a library. There should be a folder on the drive. Let's add that. Folder on the drive, called Larson. Let's share. How does each department share one document? And Romy saying that's a question for that side.
Can we do it
You have a document. What do you do, Dan? How do you share with other people? Click on share. You go to advanced in the bottom right corner, right? And you share it with everybody that has the link.
So now what we got to do is
Share with everybody that has the link. Well, we don't want to share it with a specific circle. At this stage, we're trying to get each department to do their white paper so that admin can consolidate it into one, and then we reshare it with everyone else. Okay, right now, we're just trying to get it so that they can do it. Okay, and the easiest way is share with anybody with the link. And, well, that's the easiest way to do it right now. Okay? And if you have a question, reach out to Safira or somebody in California. Okay, so that's a good question. So, okay, so I can assure you, Jesse, if you have that question, at least 5 other people have that same question. So, what other questions do we have before we get started on our document? Yes, William.
How can we get our people for California that are
Dennis is going to send that to me, and I will make sure that admin has it. But for right now, at this stage, it's easier for them to do their white paper and us here to do our white paper. And then once we have the overall what is the objective, then to share it with, then you're going to know who's on your team, etc. Okay, and then you add them to your circle. Right?
My paper there, everybody can edit between one, like the people in our group. We can add their email so they can directly just our white paper.
You need to invite them or get them on your white paper. The one way to do that is a hangout. Hey everybody, go to, here is the link. Here's the link to the document. Like Summer yesterday had that thing saying, what did it say, Summer? Everybody, let's get on the same page. Pull it together, okay? So we can have a little chat box going with people that are in your department. Okay, what other questions? So that's a good question. And so in operations, what does operations have to do? Okay, so the newsletter will be sent by MailChimp. Okay. So somebody here, well, Horace is gone, John is here, John knows a little bit about MailChimp. Let's just consider it's an app. It's not a Google app, but it is integrated in with Google. And it's a way to send mass emails that look like newsletters. So that's what we're going to use. And they have templates. So when we get to the stage of designing it, me or John, or maybe Keith, or maybe Horace, somebody will work with you and show you like the La Voce newsletter that goes out every Monday. And so when people get in their email, it doesn't look like an email. It looks like a newsletter. It has pictures, masthead, looks like a magazine. Okay? And it's very easy to do. It's a great tool. When you get reports back, it tells you who opened it and also what links they looked at. So if you have a story on this, or you say go to our application, you see who did stuff. So then you can follow up, right? If you send it to somebody and they look at our course catalog, that should trigger with us, oh, this person was interested enough to see the course catalog. We should get back to them and see, did you find what you were looking for? Okay, or we have a special this week. Any other questions? Yes, Tom.
We talk a lot about the Google Apps.
Okay. Well, what we're trying to do is get people who send a student. Okay, so here Don had a very good question, which I interpret to be, who are these subscribers? Okay, so who would care if we're the Stanford of career training schools? Who would care about that? Well, let's assume they do. Okay, who would care? Prospective employers, right? Prospective employers. If prospective employers keep hearing, this is the Stanford of career training schools, under the Joseph Goebbels theory of propaganda, what is going to happen? It's going to become true. Okay? So, prospective students. Exactly. Who else? Okay. Not really parents, because this is not a school for anybody 18. So, but that's a good point. You cannot go to the school unless you're an adult. Okay, by law.
What about advertising?
Advertising? No. What did you say? Okay, so there's a lot of money. The federal government has a lot of money that they give for retraining. It's called WIA, Workforce Investment Act. In California, it's handled through the unemployment offices. Here, it's handled through other places. They don't let people have retraining who the money's actually for them. People in here don't get that money. Even though it's designed, the federal government created this program for people that are in here, people who can't get a job without retraining. That's what this Workforce Investment Act is all about. The idea is you take somebody who was like Dave, who was homeless, you get him to go to school, he has skills, he gets a job, and then he becomes what? He becomes a productive member of society who pays taxes. That's the idea of the Workforce Investment Act. What they don't do, though, is they don't give it to the people like our students, because they say, Dave is never going to get a job. We're not going to give the money to the people who need the money because they're not going to get a job. Margaret won't get the job because she's got a felony. So when people come into the plate, people who have money, and they have to spend the money, because if you don't spend it, what happens? You lose it. Now, if you're the caseworker and you spend it on somebody who doesn't get a job, what happens? You lose your job. Okay? So you only want to, if you're a caseworker, you only want to spend the money on people who are going to get a job. So 10 people come in who went to Penn State, or 10 people came in who went to State Penn, and there's 10 scholarships. Where do they go? What's the distribution? No, it's 10-0. They don't give money to people who went to state Penn, even though that's who the money is designed to be for. It's designed for people who can't get a job without retraining. It's not designed for people who are unemployed and they are trained. Okay? So those counselors need to feel they can do their job. They can give the money to the people that are supposed to get the money because those people went to the Stanford of career training schools. And then here in Las Vegas, we're sweetening that, we're making it easy for them by getting judges and politicians to call up this counselor's boss and say, now you're going to use the money for who it's intended for, right? This is where John Johnson comes in. And they're not going to want to say to Ricky Barlow, no, they would rather he didn't call. Okay, but if Ricky Barlow calls and says, now you're going to use that money for the people it's intended for, right? They're not going to say no because they think he's going to call Washington. He's not going to take no for an answer. Why would Ricky Barlow do that? It's good for him because what? But he wants the people to say Ricky is doing what he's supposed to do. He's helping get our people, okay? So, but he will do it because he believes, A, because he wants to, because he believes, B, because he feels he has a duty. It could be reciprocity. We helped him, he helps us. Okay? It could be because he is afraid that if he doesn't do it, we're going to get somebody else to call. And then it's going to come back on him of, hey, Ricky, we heard they wanted you to do it and you wouldn't do it. What is your answer, Mr. Barlow?
I'm not.
Okay. Huh? Okay, no. So, right, okay, because Robert is that persuasive, so Robert's getting in. So Dawn had a good question. Who is this for? So the people in marketing, who is this for? This is for prospective employers, because at the end of the day, our school is graded by the state based upon how many people got employed. They don't care about education, they care about employment. They care about taking people and turning them into productive members of society. We want students to come here. We want everybody who gets out of prison who says, you know what, I need to go to school somewhere. Where should I go? We want them to feel this is the place to go, not Phoenix University or National University or places that they're going to have to pay for, go deeply in debt, not be able to get a job. That they can go to a school for free and get the skills that were promised them when they were kindergarten of we're going to pay for your education through the 12th grade. Counselors need to feel safe and secure that if they send somebody here, they're going to get a job. Anyone else? Who else? Politicians, right? Horace added like 19 politicians to the MailChimp list of who this is going to go to. So we have 650 people, subscribers so far. Okay. Well, no, politicians everywhere, because there are people in Idaho that are saying we got this problem. People get out of prison and nobody will hire them, and they don't have skills. Part of the reason they went to prison is they didn't have skills. Okay. Who else? Okay, so that would be employers, right? Prospective employers, prospective students, prospective politicians. How about do-gooders? Also known as people. I got a call yesterday from a woman who was working at the Annenberg Trust. Huge trust, millions of dollars. She called up about A. I started talking about what we were doing. She's going to come here and look at what we're doing.
Were you talking like donators?
Yeah. Right. Tony Shea, we are here because Tony Shea learned about the school and we're here because he thinks it's important enough for us to be here. No, he financed the place where we are. He provided this space and the utilities and the light and internet and things like that. Okay? This is his property. Now, we ask him, he's been in, he comes in here, and he looks around and sees what people are doing at night. But he's a very low-key guy. Okay, so we've got 6 minutes to do the white paper. So for people here, this is the assignment for after lunch. Okay? This is what we need to do, but I want it to be clear. Dawn, what are you thinking? Exactly. So those people are our subscribers, because they can decide that they're going to do a lot. Let's say this: if Sheldon Adelson decided he had the solution to the ex-felon problem, could Sheldon Adelson get politicians to do something?
Yes.
Why? Because he spends hundreds of millions of dollars. It's part of the people Lawrence Lessig doesn't like, right? That's part of the. He's part of Lesterland. Okay, what else? Anybody have any other questions? Dennis, how are you guys doing?
We're okay.
Okay. How's Joe doing?
Doing great. You gave you a thumbs up.
Okay, so we're gonna have Joe on a conference call this afternoon.
Right, 1 o'clock, right?
Okay. Okay, so in the last 5 minutes, who's got a brainstorm idea? Who's got something good to say? Safira, I heard you. Huh? Huh? I'm funny? Okay. I thought this was like the Joe Pesci. I'm funny? Why do you say I'm funny? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so, okay, so we didn't talk about the operations people so much. Miguel started talking about the operations side. Right now, the newsletter is going to be in MailChimp. MailChimp is a great tool. It's free for employers. Let's see. What else in operations?
Content. I know we got to work on content.
Okay, so content. Now, okay, hold on, everybody. We can do that in a minute. We've got 4 minutes left. So, a good question was brought up. Who heard the question? The question is, where do we get the content, and what is the content that's going to be in this newsletter? This is a weekly newsletter. Where do we get the content?
You can get it from past graduates. You can get it from employees.
Okay, so what kind of content is there? So who's in operations?
Research.
Operations people. Somebody at least write this down. Content. We need testimonials.
You can get a testimonial from an employer who's hired people that have graduated from here.
Students. Okay, we can get testimonials from employers. What else do we want?
You might even be able to get judges who sent people to this program that have succeeded and not went back to prison or whatever. It's a sex story.
Okay, what other kind of things can we have besides testimonials?
I would maybe go into our how we can go into the cloud, how what we can do for other companies.
Okay, so another thing would be statistics. We need hard numbers. Hard numbers, statistics are very persuasive.
We can use articles that we find on the internet to make our own original articles based on
Judges. So that's a testimonial from a judge. I sentenced 5 people to the school. They all ended up getting jobs. They didn't go back to prison. Right. So Mike has to get his judge. Okay? Statistics is a very important thing. Human interest stories. Human interest stories. You read a story about somebody whose life changed because they went to school.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that came to Larson, but it could be like our adversity paper. Someone's been through hard times, went to school and got,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then that person could be a typical student at Larson.
Sure.
Okay?
How do we get a hold of these people who are, you have to be more like your judges or players who are playing? How do we get a hold of them?
Well, Sherry knows how to do that. Or other students who had a judge, like Mike McGurl, who is a success story for his judge.
It's been bad. You talk about your fine. You need a job.
Okay?
Sending you here. Got a job. Very happy.
Okay, break time, everyone. California, thank you for being there. Joe, we'll see you this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.